She said, I've done nothing with my life. Why do we feel like we're not successful no matter what we do in our lives? Our value as a person, our purpose in life, is because we're here.
This TED Talk that you gave, I think, should resonate in the farming community because you told a story about your mother that I think we can all relate to. What did your mother say one day looking out the window after everything that she had built and accomplished? What took you aback and stopped you cold when you heard her say it?
Well, first of all, my mom rarely cries. She's a tough woman and she's a strong woman, and if she cries, she doesn't do it in front of us kids. So one day we were getting ready for Easter brunch. So the guys were outside, doing whatever the guys do when we're prepping brunch, and the kids are playing, and my mom and my sisters and I were all hanging out in the kitchen, getting brunch ready. And we're talking about our busy lives. Me and my sisters are talking about our careers. We're talking about our families. We're talking about all our things going on in our lives. And I looked over as I see my mom making pancakes. She's at the griddle, and my mom is crying. And we were all stunned because, like I say, we barely ever see my mom cry. So, of course, I asked her, Mom, what's wrong? And what she said really did stop us in our tracks. She said, I've done nothing with my life. Now, you have to understand, this is a woman who's worked alongside my dad on the farm. They built a business, as farmers. They raised 8 kids. From our perspective, my mom was very accomplished in her life. Even her kids, if you look at the kids and the independent children that she raised and the values that she raised us with, and yet by her measure, she felt like she'd done nothing with her life. So that was a pivotal moment, not only for my mom, but for our entire family, where I started really studying it even deeper. Why do we feel like we're not successful, no matter what we do in our lives? And that's kind of what brought me here today and what brought me to share that message on the TEDx.
Why do we get that wrong? Why are we using the wrong metrics? And how can we start using the right metrics, Corliss?
Well, it is conditioning. So if we go back in time, to the very beginning, the environments that we grew up in and the environments that our families came from, we were all taught and conditioned and programmed to believe certain things. So it's like you work really hard at this, and then you achieve this, and then you're successful. So we have to kind of unravel the whole thing and go back to the very beginning and understand where we even come from and where this conditioning comes from, because we fall into patterns. So we fall into these patterns of belief systems that we were conditioned to believe before we even knew that we should believe those things and that they weren't good for us. So we start chasing these things. We have to do these things. This is how we're successful in life. This is how we're successful as a human being. And we don't stop and interrupt that thought pattern and even say to ourselves, why do I believe this anymore? And that is certainly something that my mom had to do, with the TEDx stage. What I realized, even as I was talking with my mom and as I was developing that talk to bring it to the world, what I realized was happening is that my mom's feeling of, I have no purpose, my life isn't important, I've done nothing with my life, is that she believed that everything outside of her was going to determine her value as a human being. And it wasn't until we stopped and we talked about that and we looked at it that we understood that our value as a person, our purpose in life, simply because we're here. I truly believe that if our purpose is fulfilled, our life is done here. So we're here, we have purpose, and we don't have to prove it. We don't have to try and gain it. We literally have it. And it's because of where we come from, our conditioning, our programming, the environments that we've been passed down from generation to generation, that we've come to believe that we have to get it outside of ourselves. And that's actually not where it lives. And that's why it's temporary. Does that make sense, Dan?
Yeah, we just lost you a little bit at the end there. I think your connection was A
Oh,
little bit
okay.
dial up there for a second, but I think you're okay now. We got you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so you said to me when we talked about what we were gonna, share on this chat, nothing external is ever gonna fill a hole inside of you. So, what will fill this need that we all have for purpose, especially in an age? Let's face it.
Hmm.
If you live in Saskatchewan, Corliss, you are the richest person on planet Earth by capita for the amount of resources that we have. Is that not good enough? Should by that metric, shouldn't we all be really happy and clicking our heels on the yellow brick road here?
Oh, this is a loaded topic. So, okay, so I want to take you back to understanding where we've arrived at. So, first of all, when I talk about the environments and the conditioning and the programming that we've had, these are all subconscious things. Like we don't realize that they're happening. So when we were children, depending on what environment we were in, society, was teaching a certain thing. We were exposed to messages on the news. We were exposed to conversations that were happening around the kitchen table. We had all these things that were happening outside of us. And we were taking that in as children, as young adults, we were taking that all in and we were developing a belief system. Now, belief is something that we've accepted as truth. So it's like you see it, you hear it, you think it, and you take it in and you're like, okay, I believe that, and it becomes your belief system. So depending on where we come from and how healthy the environments were that we grew up in, that's going to determine a lot of what we bring into adulthood. Now, the challenge is sitting in there in the backlog, and we don't even realize that those belief systems are still dominating our lives right now because they're coming from our subconscious mind. So what we need to do is we need to pause long enough, just like we are today, to examine those beliefs and to decide, is that a belief that I still want to hold? Do I still choose to believe that? Because sometimes we don't realize we actually have a choice, that we don't have to believe those things, that we can actually accept a new thought and create a new belief around something.